And today, my name is Tran from Technical University Berlin. And today, I will share with you some of our experience, how we use Arcadia to support us to develop and operate application, and also to support different kind of security and privacy requirements. So let's start with some our motivation. As you already know that security on cloud is the most concern when when organization deploys their services on the cloud. And as you see in this slide, when at 81% of organizations are concerned about security, and the most uh, threat to the cloud security is the unauthorized access. You see, 61%. And the second one we want to highlight here is the software in the by the 2020 and beyond need to support different requirements. The first one, they should be distributed. And the second one, they should support in design different type of non-functional requirements, including security and privacy. And as you already know in the previous presentation, we use the Arcadia framework. In a brief, Arcadia framework is the DevOps, the multi-yard support and policy-driven software framework that allow user here might be developer, might be service provider, to use them to develop and operate the applications and services. And in Arcadia, we try to provide several core values. The first one is how distributed application can be developed and dynamically provisioned and orchestrated based on policy. The second one is how legacy application can be developed and included in the Arcadia platform. And the third one, how Arcadia smart controller operation work in multi-yard infrastructure. So we, in our use case, we will try to leverage such core value of Arcadia to apply to security, to support different type of security requirements. In brief, we can see here how security requirement can be taken into account across application lifecycle, starting from embedding of security property in the source code to the parsing and interpretation for automatic deployment to active response during the operation. So here is how we make it. In the development phase, we use the source code annotation. The developer can, the application can use source code annotation to encapsulate it on the security-related metadata that will be used later on for the support security requirement during runtime. And in Arcadia, we support 5 different types of annotation category, including the identity, configuration, monitoring, lifecycle, and also dependency. In this slide, you can see one example of one security-related annotation that we implement in your Java programming language. The name of annotation here, the unauthorized request rate. We can use this like one of monitoring metric to trigger some security reaction. And here is the screenshot of how annotation can be included during the development time. The developer can use our tool to input to provide some required annotation. And also in the deployment phase, so Arcadia, here what we try to use is the yard selection. The idea that in Arcadia we support the manual and also automatically selected just based on the requirement. We use it to support different type of requirement. For example, for security, we can, because our application is the sensitive application, it should be deployed in private cloud. So with this, Arcadia will support it to automatically select the yard in private cloud. And also this also in another use case. For example, in Arcadia we also support the energy efficiency infrastructure. So we use it also to support other requirements, not only for security. And also in the operation phase, we follow the policy management and orchestration principle. So in Arcadia, we provide user, developer, and also service provider a policy editor that they can use to define a set of policy, security, privacy, support policy, including rule, actions that take into account the monitoring metric, even available per use case service graph. Such the metric and can be get directly from the configuration annotation when developer develop the application. And also, such policy will be enforced at runtime by Arcadia smart controller to trigger some appropriate action. For the policy definition, we can define different type of policy. For example, simple one like we can define policy based only on the configuration annotation. For example, in our use case, we have one firewall component, and they have one require OAuth configuration parameter. So when we update the value of this on runtime, for example, to true, so any other request should require OAuth token in order to access the services. And also, Arcadia policy editor allow us to define more complicated policy. For example, we can define some even condition action policy like based on the Arcadia annotation metric and also configuration. For example, here in this slide, we can define a policy that when the number of unauthorized requests come to the firewall is greater than a threshold, for example 1,000, 1 million, we can trigger the actions that update the our firewall behavior through the parameter unauthorized delay 10 seconds. That means any subsequent request should be delayed 10 seconds to mitigate the attack. And here's our demo use case. As you see, there are no service graph here, but here in our use case, we try to extend the fireware IoT application reference framework to develop a remote patient monitoring application with different components. In this slide, you can see some security-related annotations that we define and apply when we develop our use case application. And here the graphic user interface of our application. Here, authorized user can access and to see the real-time heart rate data. And we also develop all of our components based on the Arcadia principle. Some of components we extend from existing open source solutions. For example, Orion Contact Broker from fireware or some other component. And in order to develop such component, we can use Arcadia IDE, very convenient tool based on Eclipse developed in the context of Work Package 4. Of course, user can also use other tools if they want. So it's very convenient for user. And also here how we use Arcadia smart controller to deploy our application. You see, we have the one OpenStack cloud. We also deploy our Arcadia smart controller to deploy our use case application with 4 components. And also in the upcoming time, we will try to make some testing, evaluation, the performance of Arcadia, and the final result will be public in the upcoming deliverable. Yeah. That's all for my presentation. If you have any questions, feel free. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.